Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Karabia. Shalom, Mashpaka. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Karabia. Shalom, Mashpaka. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Karabia. Shalom, Mashpaka. Shalom, shalom. Salakia, let me get a couple things organized. Bring some of the brothers up on the board. Salakia, let me get a couple things organized. Bring some of the brothers up on the board. All right, I think we're situated. Let me get a mic check. Throw some ones in the chat if we good. Get some shout outs. Shalom, Amatazalab. It's good with you, family. Great to see you in here. All praises. We got ones. Hey, Shalom, Jeremiah. My guy. Malak Yakub, Shalom. Hey, and just as a quick note, right? Everybody in the chat that's not aware, this is the powerful officer of Matazalab, 10K officer of Sakari. Follow this brother on Instagram, Facebook, namely on Facebook, I do believe. But Amatazah, can you paste your link to your audiobooks, King? This man got the best voice in Israel, and he putting them audiobooks out for your learning, for your edification. Show this brother some love. Follow his channel. You know what I'm saying? Follow Sakari Vice City. Powerful brothers down there with an inspirational message, right? Matazab, Baba Kashaw, I'll post the link to your YouTube or your audiobooks and whatnot for us. The Water King. Officer Rob, man, look, Vice City is in the house. All praises. We're gonna have to get these brothers a fresh link. Got all these powerful officers in here. What's happening? Right? I see that the audio is good. Right? Get some shout outs. Shalom Malak Yakub. Diligent brother. Right? Shalom 144K, another diligent prospect. Right? Soldiers don't get no shout outs. We stand in the shadows. But y'all know who y'all are. You feel me? My guy, Jeremiah. What's good, King? Hey, we need to see you around camp, family. Come kick it with your brothers. Say what's happening. Shalom, Princess. Always good to have you. All right. So look. Y'all see the title, right? Gems from the Couch. Gems from the Couch, number 5, right? But first and foremost, I want to give Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. That's all praises to the Most High in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Yahushua Hamashiach in Hebrew, right? Today, we're going to touch on the subject of black on black crime and how Sergeant Bazak, way back in the couch we reached way back in the couch for this one, family. Episode 5, right? This was one of the first 5 episodes of the Couch Captivity created, and it dealt with, I think the full title, let me double check. The full title was The Guide to Ending Black on Black Crime. And what did it point back to? Following these law, statutes, commandments, remembering who we are as a people, who our people is, right? And not just black on black crime, Israelite on Israelite crime, because it's black on black crime, black on brown crime, right? Brown on black crime, vice versa, and whoop-de-whoop, right? So we're going to get into that. We're going to let that roll. I'm going to cue that up. And then Officer Apiat going to join us, right? And we got some other things to tie into that. As we get into the video, it's going to talk about topics like, generational PTSD, how post-traumatic stress is passed through generations. You feel me? So what your ancestors feel, you're going to feel because it's generational, right? It's pathological, physical. You feel me? Let me bring Officer Apiak up. Shalom, King.
Shalom out. Can you hear me good?
You good? I hear you great. What it
All right.
sound like in the chat? We got ones up. Quick mic check, Apiak.
Mic check, mic check. Y'all hear me good?
Throw some ones up if we all good. All right. Hey, whatever you did with the setup is crystal clear.
Got
he
my
Gucci.
earpiece in today.
Okay, there we go. Oh gee,
Uh,
oh gee. Hey, that's what's happening. Hey, we're gonna get right into it. I'll let you kind of lay the foundation, but I'm gonna get right to the switchboard on the vid.
all right, good. So this evening's class, I just want to say congratulations to everyone who made it through the Shabbat. I tell you, this one took longer than expected, but the idea of this class today was just once again to showcase the information that comes out on a lot of these Couch That Captivity created classes. We're going to get right into the one of the main problems plaguing the Black and Hispanic communities and Native American as well, Israelite communities, mental health issues. That's really what this show is dedicated to, mental health issues. So let's get right to it.
For sure, all praises. All right, like I said, family, we're going all the way back to episode 5. So it's a banger. Hey, raw, unedited. What you see is what you get.
Yo,
Long
raw
Beach,
and unedited.
right? What you see is what you get. This is the LBC Wolfpack, Sakari. And without further ado, here we go, family.
Foremost, want to give call hello, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. That's all praise to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son, the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach in the Hebrew. This is once again the Couch Captivity created. All right, we were originally gonna go with the name cross the motherfucking line 2, cause we want smoke. You know what I'm saying? But I said, you know what? As original as that sounds, this makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to do that anymore. You know, it's the Couch Captivity created. All right. So just following up from last week, talking about the start of this whole black on black crime and why we've been doing these things. And we have to remember that although we've been killing each other for some time now, even as we did in the ancient days, we have to be able to put the pieces together, right? It's a puzzle. Just like we're dealing with these scriptures, it's a puzzle. So what we're going to tap into a little bit is I'm just going to state a couple things dealing with trauma, right? Physical abuse, mental abuse, right? And how that also affects black on black crime and why we are could be violent towards each other, right? And then we're going to go into how the white man's got something coming to him, okay, because of who he is and what he's been doing. All right. So I'm gonna read this thing. The Red hooked me up with this, but maybe next week we'll cite the sources. All right. She's probably kicking us up right now. All right. Salud America says 78% of Latino kids suffer at least one adverse childhood experience: poverty, neglect, abuse, household dysfunction, whether it be divorce, violence, substance abuse, etc., right? And, what a lot of people don't understand is what we deal with today has a lot to do with what's instilled in us, right? Those transgenerational curses and traumas and these are just the things that are on us today. So let's get Deuteronomy 28 and read verse 1. Baba Bashar. Why?
Salakia. We get back to it. So I know we about to get into the breakdown at this point, but anything you want to interject on in terms of the intro, because I know he about to get into the curses. So I know that's kind of a milestone. I know you want to interject on anything, or you good right there?
No, we're just gonna move along. I
All
just wanted to watch the video. We're gonna have a watch through. Then we'll go back and give our commentary and our reactions.
Bet. For sure. That'll work. So what we're gonna do, Marsh Bakar, we're gonna watch a good 5-10 minutes of this video straight through because it's just a pure gem. And then we're gonna go into a couple other things. We're gonna circle back and break it down too into some pieces. All right. So bear with us. Just sit back and enjoy this gem.
He's getting that. Let me read the definition of transgenerational trauma. It's a theory which states, did you get it? Oh my gosh, dude. No, I can't. We got Bibles. Don't worry, folks, you read out of Bibles. Transgenerational trauma. A theory which states that trauma can be transferred from the first generation of trauma survivors to the second and further generations of offspring of the survivors via complex post-traumatic stress disorder mechanisms. All right? It's a lot. I said a lot. Hope you got that. I'm going to read it again. Transgenerational trauma is a theory which states that trauma can be transferred from the first generation of trauma survivors to the second and further generations of offspring of the survivors via complex post-traumatic stress disorder mechanisms. We get the Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. Because and I would love to believe that everything we're dealing with has everything to do with the curses. Every single thing. Right? Which stem from disobedience. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand the root. We wouldn't be dealing with an enemy being over us if we were obedient. We wouldn't be dealing with marital problems if we were obedient. We wouldn't be dealing with child murder, sex trafficking, kidnapping, pedophilia, if we were in order, if we did what we were supposed to be doing. Let me get that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's all good, man. It's all good. Always remember, it's always used and abused, right? So it's easy to get to. All right. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken. Slow down. Okay. The water. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. No, I didn't say quiet. I said slow down. Okay. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high, above all nations of the earth. Above all nations on the earth, right? Now, if we did what the Most High requires of us, we will be set on high above all the nations of the earth. And you and I both know when you read verse 2 to verse 14, it's talking about blessings. Guess what? Those are generational blessings, right? Those are forever blessings until you mess up. And guess what we did as a nation? We messed up numerous times. Now jump down to verse 15. I know y'all know it, but we're going to read it anyways. Go ahead. Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, if you will not hearken to observe, to do all his commandments, all his statutes. I tell you no lie, man. I don't care when someone say, we ain't got to keep certain commandments or this, that, and the other. We're saved from the curse of the law. My nigga, understand something. You're telling me those Israelites that believed on Christ and their children and their children's children, those Israelites, those that the trickle down generation, right? During 70 AD, what were they running from? Who were they running from? Last time I checked, we went into slavery, which looked like that's in the curses. Go ahead. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now, read verse 28. Verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness. See, the Most High say he's going to smite you with madness. Go ahead. And blindness, and astonishment of heart. And an astonishment of heart. Now, let's see. Um, 28. Yo, my legs are killing. Let me get some translations. You just read the KJV. Let's get some other translations. This is the New Living Translation, Deuteronomy 28 and 28. The Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and panic. Right? This is out of the NIV. The Lord will afflict you with madness, blindness, and confusion of mind. Confusion of mind. Sounds like a bunch of mental stuff. Go ahead. This is out of the NET. The Lord will also subject you to madness, blindness, and confusion of mind. Right? Let me see, man. I know it's in the NASB. CSB, brother. Here. Okay. This is the CSB. The Lord will afflict you with madness, blindness, and mental confusion. Now, we all know that through disobedience, this is a curse. Because I don't believe that, and this is my opinion, I don't believe that if we were doing what the Most High required of us, we would be going through this. But since we haven't been doing it, and since even to this day, a large portion of us are not doing it, this is the end result. You have mental disabilities, mental disorders, right? And you got to remember, man, we not white, right? We not the other nations. We deal with things a lot different than the other nations do. So where they might say that we have ADHD, but at the same time, these are their terms. So who's to say what we really dealing with, right? I'm going to read this thing right quick. Post-traumatic slavery syndrome, right, is a theory that explains the etiology of many of the adaptive survival behaviors in African American communities. Remember, these are survival behaviors throughout the United States and the diaspora, right? Meaning the spreading. It is a condition that exists as a consequence of multi-generational oppression of Africans and their descendants, resulting from centuries of chattel slavery. Right? So they're telling you, you acting like this based off of what you've been through, based off of what your forefathers have been through. Right? A form of slavery which was predicated on the belief that African Americans were inherently, genetically inferior to whites. Yet we can be in the sun longer. We are the greatest minds on the planet. We are the best at physical anything, right? We've created almost damn near any and everything that you see in the Americas, right? Which also was shipped off to somewhere else, all right? Because if it wasn't for a black man, there wouldn't be no windshield wiper, right? There wouldn't be no fridge, there wouldn't be no engine. You understand? And I'm not. And what was that one movie with the Hispanic brother, where you say that the Mayans or the Aztecs came up with the concept of zero? It's the one where the white dude is it's a car as a teacher, and he in the hood, huh? A teacher, bro. The old school movie, right? Yeah. Yeah, because it was based on a true story, I believe. All right. But like trying to break the gang fights and all that stuff. What's his name, though? I don't remember. Nah. Charlie was out there never playing no damn teacher. Negroes is hilarious, man. He was a dude that played in American Me.
the one that said blacks killing blacks, Mexicans killing Mexicans.
Yeah. He got on glasses in the movie. Yeah. But
Stand and deliver.
Stand and deliver.
Check.
There you go.
Get a chat.
Okay, yeah. I can't see the chat, but y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. Stand and deliver. You know what I'm saying? Oh, now my girl want to say something. Girl, you late. So, yeah. That's what we dealing with, right? I'm continuing where I left off. A form of slavery which was predicated on the belief that African Americans were inherently genetically inferior to whites. Y'all are crazy. Let me tell you something. When, what was it, Jesse Owens? During the World War II? Y'all niggas was crazy. You know what I'm saying? All them brothers that stood there with the black fists. Hey, let me tell you something. Yeah, you know, can't nobody do nothing like we do, man. Alright? This was then followed by institutionalized racism, which continues to perpetuate today. Perpetuate injury, right? It's affecting us. Alright? Thus resulting in MAP, meaning M for multi-generational trauma, together with continued oppression. A, meaning absence of opportunity to heal or access the benefits available in the society, leads to P, post-traumatic slavery syndrome. It's not slavery, slave syndrome. All right? But once again, it all stems from not keeping that law, not following the commands, not doing what we said on mind. You know, we said it. So be it. Right? Let me get verse Deuteronomy 28, verse 45 and 46. Because that's how you know, like, at the end of the day, it is generational. It is generational. It's the trickle down effect. It's going to continue going on that way. Right? Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Because you ain't listening to the voice of the Lord our God. Read.
To keep his commandments.
No. See, I ain't even going to it. Go ahead, man. Keep going.
And his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Which all these brothers in here, we kept the Day of Atonement. The Sakari kept the Day of Atonement. Right? Go ahead. Our families kept the Day of Atonement. Go ahead.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder. And upon thy seed forever.
See, now that's upon your seed forever. It's upon your children. My foot hurt, man. You know what I'm saying? That's upon your seed and your children forever. Right? Now, let me get this. Ecclesiastes cuss. I believe it's Ecclesiastes cuss. It has to be 38 and 9.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38, and verse 9. My son, in thy sickness,
in your sickness, what?
Be not negligent.
You can't be negligent. You can't give up. You can't wild out. You can't do whatever you want to while you're going through these things. Go ahead.
But pray unto the Lord.
But you got to pray unto the Most High. That what?
And he will make thee whole.
And he'll make you whole. That mental strain you got going on, the Most High say he can make you whole from that. The pain you're going through, he can make you whole from that. But you got to believe this. You got to have faith that that's what he's going to do. Because if you don't, because everything starts with faith. Because we've said it before, when you're dealing with the word faith in the Hebrew, Amawan, you got to remember it goes back to the word trust. You got to be able to trust the Most High. Read that again, Baba Bashar.
Verse 9. My son, in thy sickness, be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord.
But pray unto the Lord. Right? Go ahead.
And he will make thee whole.
And he'll make you whole. Let me get Ezekiel chapter 18. And go to verse 19.
God. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18, verse 19.
Like we just read, these curses shall be upon your seed forever. Right? And we talking about until the kingdom. So every time we broke the law, these curses will come upon us, right? Especially as a nation. Right? It ain't nothing for us to purge out the evil of one or two brothers, but talking about when the nation go off, we gotta, hey, clink, clink. That's what it is. Go ahead.
Yet say ye, why doth not the Son bear the iniquity of the Father? When the Son hath done that which is lawful and right, and have kept all my statutes, and have done them, he shall surely live.
See, but watch this. If you do what you're required to do, you shall live. And guess what? When you come back through the regeneration, that's what you're going to be doing. Right? Because when you die and you return, that's why I say under the sun was the place of judgment. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The Son shall not bear the iniquity of the Father.
See, but my son Benjamin is not going to bear my iniquity. But guess what? My son Benjamin got to bear the iniquity of what he did when he was his forefather. Right? That's how you get that trickle down effect. You were here before. You got to pay for what you did. Why you think Yahweh Shai had to go through what he went through? Because when he was Solomon, he went off. But when he was here, he didn't go off. He had to pay for what he did. Under the sun was the place of judgment. Go ahead.
Neither shall the Father bear the iniquity of the Son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon them.
The righteousness of the righteous should be upon that man. Meaning that's what he's going to be. That's why we tell y'all, man, everybody that was keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is doing that now. You understand? You might not have known you was Israel, so it was going to take you longer to be that person that you was. But when you came back into the truth and realized who you was, that's because that's what you did back then. Who can make straight that which was made crooked? So how could you be crooked then and then straight later? Even though Solomon went off, guess what? Just like his daddy, man, Solomon Solomon wasn't some wicked dude. He just let dealing with all them women get to him. But the Most High still gave him all the wisdom in the world. The wisest man on the planet. That's it on that, right? Go ahead, finish it.
And the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him.
And the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon that man. Right?
Alpha, you got it? Anything to add? I think we had another point. Just want to check in with you.
He's making all the points. Like I said, I was just gathering some thoughts. I was writing them on his notepad so that way we can, when we replay through it, we'll just give our input and add. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I believe it's like one more point, and we can just get to it.
All right, just give me the heads up when you want me to pause it.
All right.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me get Galatians 3 and 10.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 3 and verse 10. For as many as are the works of the law are under the curse.
Go ahead.
For it is written, cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things.
See, cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things written. Go ahead, finish it.
Not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them.
Now, we got the blueprint. But if you're not doing it, guess what, man? Cursed be ye. Let's get Baruch right quick. You know, that's my book. That's my book. Let's get Baruch right quick. Yeah. Start from the top. All right.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God.
This is the book of the commandments of God. Right? Not this and this, but yeah, that right there, it's all good. This is the book of the commandments of God, right? Go ahead, them 80 books.
And the law that endured forever.
And the law that endureth forever, right? Go ahead.
All they that keep it,
everyone that keeps those commandments, keep those laws, keep those statutes, read,
shall come to life.
You should live. But they gonna tell you ain't got to do that. But guess what? Now we got post-traumatic slave syndrome. Now we got generational trauma going on. But we ain't got to keep the law because we ain't got the curses on us because of Christ. The niggas is wild. The niggas is smoking. That's what you're doing. You're smoking. You're getting high. Right? You're drunkards. Something wrong. Maybe you got a mental problem. Go ahead.
But such as leave it shall die.
But such as leave those laws, statutes, commandments, such as leave this book of the law, you should die. You shall die. Tell me this is a lying. Because I'm going to show you something. Tell me how Baruch 4, in the beginning, it talks about keeping the law. Then it talks about later on how soon enough your enemies, you'll be able to tread your foot on your enemy's neck for what they've done. Grieve for the land. Grieve for your people. Because the Most High put them plagues on you. That's lying too. That's playing the game with your mind. That's it on that, right? Con. Let me get Deuteronomy 27 and 26. That's how I'm gonna end this part of it. Like I said, I'm gonna tap into a little bit of it, you know what I'm saying? Because I want y'all to understand when we're dealing with the trauma that we're going through, it's due to the generational curses, right? They can put all kind of spins and names and everything on it, but at the end of the day, guess what? We wouldn't be going through it if we were doing what we were required to do. It's a hard pill to swallow. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 26. Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of his law.
Cursed be he that confirmeth not. Hold on. Late night, man. Read it again.
Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of his law.
Go ahead.
To do them.
And
all the people shall say.
And all the people shall say what?
Amen.
Amen. Right? So be it. We with it. We with it. We want everything good coming to us. Soon as that dark cloud come over you, you forget you're the reason the cloud came. Because truth be told, there wasn't no affliction until we went off. Right? I'm talking about outside of Egypt. Alright. So that's just another part of the whole, black on black crime, because even with dealing with mental health, you'll see us in these streets going crazy. You can't tell me somebody's in their right mind when they gang banging and killing brothers. You can't tell me it. I got homies that just got out. You know what I'm saying? And They've killed before and they'll kill again if need be. I know killers that are I know killers, the killers, the killers, the killers, the killers, they killing still.
It's like innocent.
That part. You know? So that's that. Now we're gonna tap into, Job 9:24. Tap into Esau
You can
business,
stop
man.
right there.
Con. Oh, praises. Con, yeah. It's a good little piece, man. I enjoy watching it again, King. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
that part.
I remember that vividly that day.
Yeah, we got some real gems just all throughout these classes that have been brought out since the couch came around, you know what I'm saying, since its inception. So it's always good for us to rehash these topics in these classes because a lot of people haven't seen these classes, and especially with a lot of the new soldiers in Long Beach specifically, because quiet as it's kept, that's why we're doing this Sunday thing for the body out here in Long Beach. So
Con,
just remember, the more you watch, the more of these topics Sarge go into and the definitions he brings out. This is ammo that we use on the line. These are talking points we go into, and we have a whole collection. We have a whole collection of this information right here on our very own channel. So we know we have mandatory classes that come out that we have to watch that the higher ups release, but we also have a lot of work that we expect the soldiers to go into that came from Long Beach as a camp. So that's why we're
con,
doing this, and it's definitely good to edify the viewing audience as well.
con. Oh, praises. Hey, and the thing that I remember specifically about this lesson is the fact that I never really put two and two together like that. And for one, I never really understood the term of post traumatic slave syndrome, right? I never thought that that was a thing. But then when SARS broke it down, I go, it makes sense. It
Okay.
makes sense. I suffered trauma from what my parents suffered. They suffered trauma from what their parents suffered, so on and so forth, right? And then SARS got into how we the salt of the earth when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, entertainment and arts, music, food, inventions, right? And I
Right.
know that's one thing you brought up with me is like, think about how many inventions, patents that got stole from us, how much just wealth was taken from us just from the patents that they stole from us after slavery. It's crazy. Everybody know
Right.
about Tulsa, right? But it's hundreds of little towns like Tulsa that got treated the same way post slavery that have began to build wealth. Some of them based on patents, which we'll go through some. I know you did some research, and I know you got something to bring out. So I'm gonna pull that up, and then what you want me to just read down, or you got some specific parts you want to go to?
Actually, before we
Uh
get
huh.
into that, I just wanted to bring out. We're gonna bring out some precepts to
Con.
recap what Sarge brought out. But you're right. That was one of the one of the topics I wanted to touch on was the patents, and that was inspired by what Sarge was saying in this class. You know how they've taken from us, but how the history of what happened with the patent office, specifically with the Negro slaves in America, is these are signs of the curses, and these are signs of what we were foretold to have been going through for not keeping in our heritage, for discontinuing from our heritage, being in the land of our enemies and following after their ways. So we're just gonna get into some precepts just to,
Con.
just to make this all edifying. So off top, let's get Ecclesiastes 7:7. We all know that.
Con. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
So easily. Oppression makes a wise man mad, right? That has a lot to do with mental with mental stability as well. So when you poke the bear and you poke the bear and you poke the bear, eventually the bear gonna snap. But the bear is built with all the right parts to go to war and growl and maul and bite right to defeat their enemy. When you poke the slave and you poke the slave and you poke the slave, it calls him to retreat inwardly, and that's part of where that post-traumatic slave stress disorder comes from, is because we didn't have an outlet in slavery to be able to deal with the ill treatment that was plaguing us from our captors. We had to internalize our trauma and our stress, and we had to just find ways to bottle it up. But the adverse effects of us going through said trauma, as we internalized it, it started to show itself in our behavior. So oppression makes a wise man mad. Even the most put together slave, right? Even the most patient and calm and thinking slave still had a lot of messed up personality traits or behavioral traits based on having to just deal with being in slavery. You know what I'm
Con,
saying?
con,
So as they're having kids with hurt people who hurt people who hurt people, right? They're just making hurt people, right? We know the saying. So
con,
it's not just hurt people hurting people, it's us having children from hurt people, generation by generation by generation, plaguing a whole race of people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, oppression makes a wise man mad, and a gift destroys the heart. In the midst of being enslaved and treated like less than a human, slave master might do something like give you clean water to drink, or give you a fresh pair of shoes, something simple. I have a cousin who gang banging, got turned out in the streets, and white folks ain't never did nothing nice for him his whole life. But when he was in high school, it was a white couple who knew he was doing real bad. They bought him a pair of shoes to play basketball in high school with. And to this day, he considers white people to be faultless, even with their colored history with dealing with us. But since a white couple bought that dude a pair of shoes in high school to play basketball, he feels like they can do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? And
con,
that's that gift that destroys the heart. We have to look past the gifts and the wick and all the handouts, even though uh, free lunch and these programs were actually brought to you by the Black Panther Party in the '60s, right? Whatever the so-called white man has given us in response to us being degraded in society and relegated to subhuman standards, there's nothing they can give us that can accumulate for what they've taken from us. So no matter
hey,
what gift they give you, it ain't worth it.
hey, brothers waiting on that stimulus right now. What's that, round three?
Hey, talk
Hey,
about it. And we still not finna buy our freedom with it, you know?
niggas, hey, look, niggas gonna get widescreens. You gonna go into Target see and Walmart and see niggas with a bunch of widescreens that can't fit in the cart. It's crazy.
Hey, talk about it. Might not even
Yeah,
fit in a
man.
little apartment, you know?
That part. That part. You know? But like you said, that's symptoms of a hurt people.
Right.
You gotta be a hurt person to want something materialistic that's really of no value, right?
Hmm.
It does nothing for you. It doesn't do a job for you. But we crave these material things to feel like we belong, because that was a big marketing ploy for the white man. Once we got free and started making money, is they appealed to the black man's need to look sharp and look clean. You see what I'm saying? Because that helps
Yeah.
with your self-esteem. And I was raised up, oh, cleanliness is next to godliness. You got to present yourself properly and this and that and the other, because we knew that we was going to be judged twice as hard. You see what I'm
Facts.
saying? So I learned early in life, I don't give a damn how clean my suit was, how fresh my cut was, I'm still a nigga. So, and that's something that causes drama, because you like, they told me go to school, get good grades. You know what I'm saying? Be courteous, do this and I do all that, and then I step outside and this still happen. That causes a lot of letdown. You feel
That's
me?
right. That's right.
But yeah, King. What
Well,
we got next up, Papa?
let's get into Deuteronomy. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy 28 real
Okay,
quick,
bet.
just to just to make some reference toward this this mental instability they've plagued us with that has befallen us.
Con. Deuteronomy 28. Where you want to start?
Let's get 16. Well, let's
Okay.
get 15 and 16. We might as well go
Okay.
over the 15 as traditional per tradition.
Con. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So I just wanted to make that point to say, cursed will we be in the city, cursed shall we be in the field. Whether we're in our own cities, that were our cities that we were taken and stolen from, or whether we're in the field, like when we were wandering through the wilderness, so I'm saying into the interiors of Africa, into the west coast of Africa, into the land of the north in captivity. We gonna be cursed in these places. So I'm
Con,
saying, so there's a whole laundry list of curses, and in those curses, the framework of our destruction is spelled out in there. We can go, I mean, to direct references of how we're destroyed today and a lot of the barriers we have as a community or as various communities, and those barriers that are actually keeping us from being able to be as successful as some of the other races or communities in the Americas or really on a world stage period. And we can see that defined through the curses, but the curses were to follow us. Shalom, my boy. Yabashim Shabakata. Ain't seen you
that's
in a
what I'm
minute.
talking about. My nigga. What's happening, family? Mama Y. Good to see you, King. Shalom.
But yeah, we're people try to argue that the curses were for a certain time period back in the historic times, but we went into multiple captivities just in the what they call Old Testament. The New Testament takes place in the Roman captivity. See what I'm
Con,
saying?
con,
Up until post exile. See what I'm saying?
con.
So the point is, these curses are following us around. These curses are on us, whether we in the city, whether we in the field, and going into captivity under our enemies is literally part of the curses. So I'm saying,
Plain and simple.
yeah,
Plain
but
and simple.
let's get some of these curses. Can you drop down to verse 30?
Bet. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
So clearly, these are all these are all curses that took place in slavery for the so-called blacks, and also these are plagues that took place for the so-called Latinos and the Native Americans when the Edomites came to this land and stole it from them, right? Their wives were being taken, right? And there was nothing they could do about it. Their their land and their possessions and their cattle and their kind were being taken or even extincted in certain cases, right?
Con,
So we understand that these plagues, these curses took place in the Americas, right? And these plagues and curses took place for the northern and southern kingdom. Read 31.
Verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine
Mm-hmm.
ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shalt not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
Which clearly your cattle and your kind shall be taken away by your enemies, who you're in captivity to, and no one can do anything. So I'm saying they was taking the lands, they was taking the cattle, and they were reforming and restructuring uh, these towns and these areas to where either Spaniards or what you call it, the English and the British were just taking over all these lands and then reformatting them for us to work the lands, but for them to have all the control over the property on the lands and for them to be able to reap the benefit of everything that was coming up off the land.
Con.
Let's
Con,
get
I think
32.
in
Oh yeah,
Latin
pause.
America, they called the Spaniards had a system called encomiendo,
Con.
which is, the natives worked and did all the work and produced all the goods, and it went and bubbled up to the Spaniards, and they put it on boats and shipped it back over there
Shipped it back
across the
home.
Atlantic. Same thing over
Uh-huh.
here with slavery, and then even post-slavery with the Jim Crow laws and the redlining. We packed in the went from the cotton fields and the cane fields up into the city, and instead of working on a plantation, brothers is in factories slaving. You know what I'm saying? Not making enough to get by. So it's that same system, and they've been doing it since times of old. It's the
Right.
same game. It's the same playbook for them. The
Con.
exact same playbook. It's up to us to realize the pattern. It's only one way to break it, like Sarah said. Get in these law, statutes, and commandments, and understand who we are and get back to our heritage.
That's right.
That's the out. Con. You got some more on that Deuteronomy?
Yeah, we're gonna get 32 and 33.
Con. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 32. Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
That's
The
self-explanatory.
Con. The fruit of thy labor and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away. Crushed all away.
Right. So we know who that well, we can't say that nation. We know, well, yeah, we can say it like that. We know who that nation is. That nation is whoever the Most High sends upon us to conquer us or to put us in captivity as a punishment for us not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. When he puts those nations over us, they have control over our children. They have control over everything we produce as long as they're ruling over us. And they're gonna get fat off it, like how you were saying, Yaziar, how in the encomienda system that everything that they would have these brothers working so hard to fill up their ships with goods to send back to their country, and
Mhm.
then the laity of the land or whatever, the dude who was ruling that was set up by the Spaniards, he was living fat in a nice domicile with all the trimmings, right? And he had everything he needed to make his life cushy and comfortable. But the people who were working the lands were living in subpar conditions, and they was busting their ass to get just enough to live and work and continue that cycle.
Con. Just enough to get by.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get 34 real quick.
Con. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
It say what?
For thou for that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
so that thou shalt be mad. Once again, that goes into that mental disease, right? That goes into us having all this stress that of dealing with life, and it's making us crazy. We're a bunch of crazy people because of all the trauma that's being inflicted upon us. All the shit we have to deal with in this captivity, it'll make the first generation of people experiencing the trauma mad. But then when you say 10, 12, 15 generations later, right? You have you have people who have generation by generation by generation started becoming accustomed to being crazy because of how they're treated. So now you got a
Con,
bunch of crazy people gang banging, killing each other, hating niggas. The same nigga who hates the nigga because dude got a blue bandana in his left pocket and he got a red bandana in his right pocket. He'd kill him, even though they have the same story, the same common ancestors, and they have the same struggles. And that same person to tell you why he doesn't hate white people because of the the uh the trauma that they've inflicted us with, but he does hate a brother behind gang banging
con,
that was just recently invented in the new era. See what I'm
right.
saying?
Con,
It doesn't make sense.
he loved a. This is a good example you brought up. A brother loved a white man because they copped him a pair of shoes, but a
Hmm.
hate will kill a nigga because they stepped on
You see, oh my goodness, talk about it.
him. It's crazy.
And that's
It's
because we're
madness.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's madness. It is.
that slave conditioning tells us that if we try to retaliate against them for what they do to us, that will be killed or will be given an unfair trial, right?
Right.
But they know when we kill each other, sometimes it goes overlooked.
Unsolved.
See what I'm
Swept
saying?
under the rug. Yeah.
Swept under the rug. That's
Yeah.
how that's how they do it. But we're being conditioned in our own communities that this behavior is acceptable because there's not really any consequence for it, or even in the cases where people do get in trouble for, let's say, murders or whatever, they're still congratulated by their own peers. You see
Con.
what I'm saying?
They got stripes all of a sudden.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's still it,
Yeah.
it comes with a reward.
Con.
That's crazy people talk. That's
That
what's
is
wrong
mad.
with us.
That's pure madness. It's backwards. It's
Con.
backwards thinking. But it's directly equivalent to where we at in terms of our heritage of keeping the law and understanding who we are. We so backwards on that. That's why we, what I'm saying, the wheels is out of alignment. They way this way. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna never go straight till we get back on track with that law, statute, commandment.
Yeah, straight up. And this which I'm just gonna segue me into another precept before we get to this article, but I just thought about it that and that's our judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Con.
This is our judgment, and we come back every generation to not only live out the curses which we wrought upon ourselves,
Yeah.
but to live out the judgments of us participating in the curses in our life. Sar said something about in the place under the sun, which
Con.
was we know it's a place of judgment, right? He brought that out in Ecclesiastes. Let's get Second Ezra 14 real quick, and we'll just read these two little verses, and we'll get to the article.
Con. Chapter 14 from the top.
No, Salakia, just get Second Ezra 14 and 13.
Okay.
Let me try.
It's the book of Second Esdras. It's like it. Book of Second Esdras, chapter 14 and verse 13. Now therefore, let thine house in order. Salakia. Now therefore, set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble. And now renounce corruption.
Khan, that was the wrong precept.
Oh,
But
Salakia. You said
no,
14
that
and
was
what?
my fault. That was my fault. I called it
Con.
wrong. I took a note of it. I lost it. Let me see.
what's the key word?
It was literally a precept for judgment under the sun. Let me try. Hold on. Let's get 34. Salakia. Not 13, 14, 34.
14 and 34.
Yeah, con.
Con. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 14, verse 34. Therefore, if it so be that ye will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy.
Right? So if we can subdue our own hearts, right? If we can get our own thoughts in check, we can get our own desires in check, then we will be kept alive, and after death we shall obtain mercy. So it'll benefit us in life, and then in our judgment we'll obtain mercy. Now get verse 35.
Con. Verse 35. For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again.
So right
And
there,
then,
right?
con,
Watch. After death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again. See what I'm
con,
saying? So in
con,
that next life, that's when you'll live out that judgment when you live again. So we'll die, we'll go to our judgment, then we'll come back to the place under the sun to live out that judgment. This is just a precept for that.
con,
For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again. See what I'm saying? Read.
con. And then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared.
Right? And that'll be in the life that we're living. So I'm saying
Con,
we'll be able to see the names of the righteous manifest, and the works of the ungodly declared, just by the judgments that niggas are living through in their life. That'll be a
yep,
sign, but that's with a spiritual eye, right?
con, that part,
Hey,
the
so we
discernment.
that was that on living out our judgment in this life. See what I'm saying? We're
Hey, we
not
got
going
it.
to some fiery hell. We're gonna
We
live
got
out our judgment here.
look. We got to endure to the end. But the furnace of adversity is what make pure gold. You know,
Yes, sir.
gold is tried through the furnace of adversity. Right?
Okay.
You want to bring that article out, King?
And we ready for the article now.
I got it pulled up. Let me see. Okay, here we go. All right, yeah, you brought this out earlier. I skimmed through it, but we gonna just let me know where you want to highlight. But I'm gonna start out with the title, and it's from a publication called The Conversation, right? Academic rigor, journalistic flair, and of course, is by us and for us, right? So, America's always had black inventors, even when the
Salakia, if you Salakia,
go
if you
ahead.
look on the side right there, that sister on the right,
Uh-huh.
Shantavia Johnson, she's the one who wrote the article, and she's the one who put the
Con,
time and dedication into the research to bring this information out.
let's give this sister her props, give her
Yes, sir.
flowers.
Yes, sir.
This is the author, Shantavia Johnson, right? She's the Associate Vice President for Academic Partnerships and Innovation at Clemson University in
Let's
South
go.
Kakalaki. Hey,
Let's
she
go.
most likely is a Geechee. You feel me?
You see?
Right? Clemson, you, the Tigers. Okay,
That's right.
let me get back to it. America's always had black inventors, even when the patent system explicitly excluded them. Right, and this was published February 14th of 2017, and it was updated February 19th. Right, and it starts out with the example of an old publication. Right, ex-slaves' dream of a model Negro colony comes true. Mound Bayou, Mississippi, in the heart
Hmm.
of the fertile Mississippi Delta, is a community of 8,000 where no white man can own a square foot of property. Now, of course, this is Mississippi Delta is still a mostly black community, and
Mm-hmm.
mostly black people live there, but it's lost its luster, shall we say, since the white man put his hands on it, right?
Yep.
But you wanted to just
Then
get
just
into
scroll down right into the article. Right. Right.
okay,
Yep.
get into the reading. America has long been the land of innovation. More than 13,000 years ago,
Disclaimer: we do
right?
not
Disclaimer.
subscribe to the
this is
13,000 years ago of
this is
the Clovis people.
Esau's timeline, right?
Right. Right.
More than 13,000 years ago, the Clovis people created what many call the first American invention, a stone tool used primarily to hunt large game. This spirit of American creativity has persisted through the millennia. Through the first American patent granted in 1641 and on to today.
So keep that in mind. The first patent was in 1641. Keep reading.
One group of prolific innovators, however, has been largely ignored by history.
Boom.
Black,
Boom. Right there. See,
right?
that's what we talking about. Off
Black,
the bat, right?
right? Black inventors born or forced into American slavery. Though U.S. patent laws was created with colorblind language to foster innovation, the patent system consistently excluded these inventors from recognition.
So watch, hold on. Before we just run by that. I ain't gonna let you just run by it like you ain't read what you just read. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Go back to
right
go
here.
back to the part black inventors. Just just get it back from the top. The one group
Okay,
of prolific. Let's just get it off. Let's
huh.
get it.
One group of prolific innovators, however, has been largely ignored by history.
So boom, off the back, they're not recognizing black inventors for their contribution in the inventions that have pushed America into the premier nation for inventions to be released and to benefit the world.
Kind
They're not they're not giving niggas their recognition
the whole industrial revolution would have never happened without us,
without us, right?
for sure. That's global, right? Kind. One group of prolific innovators, however, have been largely ignored by history. Black inventors born or forced into American slavery. Through U.S. history,
No,
patent
no,
laws,
no. Though, though,
though U.S. history patent law was created with colorblind language to
right
foster
there.
innovation,
No, that's the part.
right?
With colorblind language, right? Same
Right,
as that goddamn American Constitution for white folks.
right. The
It
whole,
has colorblind language.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It has
yeah,
colorblind language. All men are created equal.
kind.
But
But it's
what?
but it's a bunch of bull, is what it is. It says though U.S. patent law was created with colorblind language to foster innovation, the patent system consistently excluded these inventors from recognition.
That's the point. Just like the American Constitution. Yeah, they talk a good game about all these men and the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and these rights. But clearly, we were excluded from the pouring out of these benefits on us in our communities because we were definitely overlooked when it came time to benefit anything in this country, especially post slavery. We might have been better off. We might have got better treatment in slavery than post slavery. Shoot.
Kind of, yeah, at least when before slavery, the Klan didn't actively go out to rape, rob, and murder anything we built up because niggas was building stuff for the white man back then, so they couldn't destroy it. We started building our own
Right.
communities. Ain't no way, ain't no way.
Yeah. We've been under attack, and they had
Yeah,
to become more subtle. So
kind
they let us out into the world. We used to be on their properties, and that was the show. That's where we had shelter, And that's where basically we had resources, and our day-to-day system was derived from their mind, right? They put that together. It was they
Mm-hmm.
put the systems into play that sustained us. Then they say we free. They let us free to our own devices, and then that's when they're already preying on us, making loitering laws and having all this what do they call those things? Workers unions. Why? Because we were the
Right.
workforce. We were the skilled technicians of everything. So they had to create unions to make sure that them good old boys had employment and they had a means of living, that we, as the most skilled class or the backbone of society, that we weren't the only ones benefiting from the work that needed to be done. They was getting, just like today with the nepotism. You got the Edomite at your job who's got a higher position than you in the company, but he ain't worth a goddamn. But
That part.
somehow he's your boss. He's your
That part.
supervisor. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
Don't make no
look.
sense.
I done had plenty of supervisors who were overpaid and underqualified,
Yeah.
and they supervising me because I'm in a position where I'm overqualified for and underpaid. It's
Con.
just a princes. You see servants on horses and princes walking on the ground.
Yes, sir.
It's part of the curses. And look, here go a point too, Upper York, is when you know the emancipation happened, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got to realize a lot of the Southerners, in particular, not just the slave owners, but like I said, the people that were working class white folks or the lower rung white folks who maybe drove the horse and wagon with the slave master's goods up and down the coast, or captained the boats with all the goods, or the trains, or whatever mechanism they use to the logistics they use to transport all these goods for the market, right? The little storefront shops and all this stuff. People made a living, right? And there was no competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when we got free and we started building our communities up, and now all of a sudden, don't nobody want to go to their little, saloon where the sheriff and the judge and the teacher and everybody and the hose is all in one saloon. They want to go
Right.
to our spot where we got music and whiskey and
Mm.
dancing.
Right.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying? They don't want to go. They don't want to go. Hear the white music. They want to hear our music. So when those masses start wanting to consume our goods, they go, hold on, release the Kraken, tear all that shit down, burn them niggas
Exactly.
up and string them up. Don't let them build up. You know what I'm saying? And then it's the same thing with sports. You look at basketball in the 50s and 60s or whatever. With all these white boys dribbling with one hand, boring as hell. And that next thing you know, they let niggas play, and it's obvious who got the advantage. You see what I'm saying? But look, all the way clear up to the 80s, it was something to see a black quarterback. All the way up into the
Right.
80s, it was something to see a pitcher in the major leagues. So, stuff is fresh. The system
That's
is
right.
still in place. You feel me? Let's get back to that reading. As a law professor and a licensed patent attorney, I understand both the importance of protecting inventions and the negative impact of being unable to use the law to do so. But despite patents being largely out of reach to them throughout the early U.S. history, both slaves and free African Americans did invent and innovate. Why patents matter? In many countries around the world, innovation is fostered through a patent system. Patents give innovators a monopoly over their invention for a limited period of time, allowing them.
Salakia Yaziar. I don't think you got the article on the screen.
Oh, Salaki.
Con, con,
Let me go back. Throw out a king.
con.
All right.
Yeah, boy.
And just to recap, this is the sister who's the author, right? Shantavia Johnson, Associate Vice President for the Academic Partnerships and Innovation at Clemson University, right? So she's saying, as a law professor and a licensed patent attorney, I understand both the importance of protecting inventions and the negative impact of being unable to use the law to do so. But despite patents being largely out of reach to them throughout early U.S. history, Both slaves and free African Americans did invent and innovate.
Right.
She goes into why patents matter. In many countries around the world, innovation is fostered through a patent system. Patents give inventors a monopoly over their invention for a limited period of time, allowing them, if they wish, to make money through things like sales and licensing.
So hold on. The importance of that is if you patent something and you're the one who has the exclusive rights to your invention, the idea of sales and licensing is how you build wealth. See what I'm saying?
Huh.
When your sales would probably be when you have an invention. Most people don't have an invention and start off selling to consumers. What you're selling is to corporations or big production, and then you're licensing big production rights to sell and duplicate and what's the word and
Mass
produce
produced.
your product. Yeah, to produce your product.
Huh.
That's what it's about. So I'm saying it's very important to be able to come up with something, put it together, and it's something that if you come up with something that everybody needs, it's only fair that you're the one who benefits from your invention because everybody is about to cash you out.
Huh. Right. Got a picture of the patent office, right? The Herbert Hoover building. Ironic. One of the worst devils on the planet. Named the building after him, right?
Goddamn plan.
Man,
Talk about it.
right? The patent system has long been the heart of America's innovation policy. As a way to recoup costs, patents provide strong incentives for inventors who can spend millions of dollars and significant amount of time developing an invention.
Right.
The history of patents in America is older than the U.S. Constitution. Wow, that's right. You mentioned earlier in the 16. What was it, King?
1641.
1641. Wow.
Hmm.
Right. Say that again. Okay.
Which means they knew.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? Before there was even a constitution struck up, they knew they was coming out here to get it. Like everybody was out here, they hustling. You
that
know what I'm
part.
saying? You come up with something good, it's yours. Even before they had a constitution, that idea was already accepted throughout the land.
Huh. The history of patents in America is older than the U.S. Constitution, with several colonies granting patents years before the Constitution was created. In 1787, however, members of the Constitutional Convention opened the patent process up to people nationwide by drafting what has come to be known as the Patent and Copyright Clause of the Constitution.
Con.
It allows Congress, right, the Patent and Copyright Clause of the Constitution.
And
It
that's a
allows
quote right there.
Congress to promote the progress of science and useful arts by searching for limited time by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. This language gives inventors exclusive rights to their inventions. It forms the foundation for today's nationwide federal patent system, which no longer allows states to grant patents.
Right, it had to be governed by a federal body because they didn't want someone's invention to step on someone else's invention on a state level. So it had to be governed federally to cover the whole nation of America so that
Con,
they could just for record for bookkeeping,
con,
purposes. You know what I'm saying?
con. They normalized the system across the whole nation.
Yes, sir.
Right. So through the language itself, though the language itself was race neutral, right? Though the
Hmm.
language itself was race neutral, like many of the rights set forth in the Constitution, the patent system didn't apply for Black Americans born into slavery.
Stop right there, Baba Kasha. I was gonna go see you see the next the bold writing where it says slaves inventions exploited by owners.
Uh huh.
See, I was just gonna bring that out. But as I read, I read what the article was about. I was like, no, we have to read this because of that point right there.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Though the language itself was race neutral, once again, they wrote up a proposal for this concept of being able to patent your inventions and writings that were based on arts, right, and culture, because you might just come up with some form of a curriculum or something, right?
Uh-huh.
That's not necessarily an invention, but it basically, like, liberal arts is the it would be the classification of that type of an invention. It would be like a liberal art, like teaching or
Hmm.
something, right? So the
Right.
point is, these things were governed by the patent process, but the whole point is that the language of the patent process is race neutral. Basically, it's not excluding nobody in the way that we view getting your ideas and inventions patented. That's not based on racism per se, right? But and then they compare, it says, like many of the rights set forth in the Constitution. So
Huh.
just like the Constitution, it's not necessarily written uh in a racist manner, although we know that the 13th amendment says that, well, we know about the part of it that says you can't, what you call it, you can't be held in slavery unless for punishment for a crime. But
Huh.
also in the original 13th amendment, it was that a person of royalty or nobility could not assume their title in America
That
as a
part.
citizen. See what
That
I'm saying?
part.
So they got
Yeah.
niggas fighting for citizenship and equal rights, but that's why they don't have to recognize you as an Israelite and the kings of the world, because you want to be a goddamn American. See what I'm
That part.
saying? But
Hey, and
yeah,
look,
so that would be a racist writing in the Constitution.
look, this is crazy because even on a scientific level, right? I remember reading before about Dr. James Drew.
Hmm.
He invented the process of separating plasma from the blood,
Right?
so it made it easier to do transfusions. So people that usually would die on the battlefield were able to survive, and he significantly increased the survival rate, you know, compared to the death rate of the Civil War, just because people
The
bled
Civil
out
War.
because he was able to come up with that process to separate plasma from the blood and be able to transfuse it. He ended up saving more Edomites than anything, and they took his patent. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's definitely not the dude who's getting his family's not reaping the benefit of his
No,
discovery, right?
not at
Exactly.
all, man. Not at
That's the
all.
whole
And it's
point.
it's a global invention implemented globally. It's crazy.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so we stopped off right here.
Huh.
Slaves were not considered American citizens, and laws at that time prevented them for applying for or holding property,
Right.
including patents.
Okay.
In 1857, the U.S. Commissioner of Patents officially ruled that slave inventions couldn't be patented.
So watch this. That's what year?
1857.
57, right? So this is 216 years after the first patent went out statewide, right?
That part.
216 years later, now they're coming around and they're saying that it's not right to take the inventions of slaves and patent them. So they're
Man,
just saying slaves' inventions couldn't be patented. Not that slaves can patent their inventions, but just that slaves' inventions couldn't be patented, which
could
means
not. Right.
white folks can still benefit off stealing your idea. They just couldn't patent it, which means the slave owner didn't benefit directly from stealing your invention. All white people can benefit from
The
stealing your intellectual property. We're
intellectual
gonna get
property.
into that.
Right.
We're gonna get into that.
Huh. We continue on.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Slave inventions exploited by owners. During the 17th and 18th centuries, America was experiencing rapid economic growth. Black
Hmm.
inventors were major contributors during this era.
You hear that? Major contributors. Like you said, without us, it wasn't happening.
That part. Even though most did not obtain any of the benefits associated with their inventions, since they could not receive patent protection.
Mm-hmm.
Slave owners often took credit for their slaves' inventions.
Salakia,
In,
I hate to keep interrupting, but look,
Go ahead.
listen to the language. Black inventors were major contributors, and what does it say? Slave owners often took credit for their slaves' inventions. So we were the major contributors, and oftentimes white folks benefit from it. I'm just
That
look at the
part.
language. It's really
Low-down, dirty
self-explanatory.
vagabonds. Right.
Con.
In one well-documented case, a black inventor named Ned invented an effective, innovative cotton scraper. His
Mm-hmm.
slave master, Oscar Stewart, attempted to patent the invention. Because Stewart was not the actual inventor, and because the actual inventor was born into slavery, the application was rejected.
Right.
Stewart ultimately began selling the cotton scraper without the benefit of patent protection and made a significant amount of money doing so. In his advertisements, he openly touted that the product was the invention of a Negro slave, thus giving the lie to the abolition thus giving the lie to the abolition cry that slavery dwarfs the mind of the Negro.
Now watch here. Well, look how racist that is.
Huh.
Thus giving the lie to the abolition cry that slavery dwarfs the mind of the Negro. So they're saying you can put niggas in slavery and it's okay, they'll be fine. Once again, let's talk about that mental, right? Dwarfs the mind of the Negro. They're saying that when you have us in slavery and we're forced to be in slavery, that doesn't have any mental effects on our productivity or our
Right.
thinking capacity. You got to
Right.
be effing crazy.
That part. Huh.
And look at the next racist ass comment.
When did a free Negro ever invent anything?
I was already pissed by the time I was
Right.
reading this. Let me tell you.
And that she's quoting this from you know uh
The nigga
different
who wanted to
writings
steal, yeah.
yeah, different writings at that time, right? That was like,
Well, this is the Stewart guy.
yeah,
This is the guy who stole the damn the scraper.
right,
He's saying that he was bragging about a Negro slave made this, and then it says thus giving the lie to the abolition cry because people were trying to abolish slavery. He's saying there's no need to get rid of slavery
right.
because these niggas are doing great in
He's
captivity.
saying
We love it.
we got niggas building shit. What you
Yeah,
mean?
we got niggas building shit. Come on, man, let's go.
Look, literally, you could read Robert E. Lee's writings. You could read all these Confederate. You could read Abraham Lincoln's writings, and it's going to tell you how they think about us. You
Come.
see what I'm saying? Robert E. Lee straight up said the same thing. Hey, slavery might be a harsh and cruel thing, but them niggas is better off here than they would be. You know what I'm saying? They had painted this image that we would just be savage beasts if
We're
we
running
weren't
around
held in
in
captivity.
loincloths, right?
Right.
These niggas
If it
didn't even
weren't
wear
for the
clothes when we found them.
if it weren't for Massa's captivity, I might be a wild man. Like, come
Oh
on,
my,
man. Come on. Goddamn chicken George ass niggas, man. I tell you, you need to stop.
yeah, it's horrible.
You know? Look, reaping the benefits of their own inventions. The answer to this question is that black people, both free and enslaved, invented many things during that time period. One such inventor was Henry Boyd, who was born into slavery in Kentucky in 1802. After purchasing his own freedom in 1826,
Now
Boyd
look,
invented,
he's a
right?
free man. He purchased his own freedom. Let's see
Huh.
what his story tells.
Boyd invented a corded bed created with wooden rails connected to the headboard and footboard. The Boyd bedstead was so popular that the historian Carter G. Woodson profiled his success in the iconic book, The Miseducation of the Negro,
Good book.
noting that Boyd's business ultimately employed 25 white and black employees. Right?
So this brother bought his freedom, came out with the traditional bed everybody sleeps on, right?
Come, right?
And even hired uh even hired white folks. So I'm saying he gave white folks jobs. So
The
that work?
headboard and footboard that we all see with the straps that go across. You put your mattress on, lift it off the
Yeah.
floor. Crackers was living on the floor before this,
They were
right?
sleeping on hay bales.
Right, on bales of hay on the floor. They, you know what I mean? This man's sleeping in luxury. Even got the thing. Look at it up here. He got the thing where you could put the covering and
The
all.
drapes and yeah, come on.
Yeah, you
Like
feel
put
me?
the drapes on it.
And that boy, hey, boy, he got the nice woodwork. You know what I mean? Come on,
Talk
man.
about it.
Come on, that's all us. And everybody know Granny had that head. What you call that?
The setup.
The head of the bed.
Yeah,
Granny
the
had
headboard.
that big old wooden headboard with them
Mm-hmm.
big pillars on the side of them. That's us.
Come on. 200
You know,
pounds, 200 plus
right?
pounds.
Got to
Mm-hmm.
move that thing, right?
Talk about it.
Right. So getting back to it, though Boyd had recently purchased his freedom and should have been allowed a patent for his invention, the racist realities of the time apparently led him to believe that he wouldn't be able to patent his invention. He ultimately decided to partner with a white craftsman, allowing his partner to apply for and receive a patent for the bed.
So hold on. Earlier they said that black folks wasn't able to get patents because they were not free, so they couldn't own property. This here brother had bought his freedom, but due to the racist realities of his time, he knew that he had to go give his idea to an Edomite to patent and to receive all the benefits from, like I said, and it might in his lifetime, the brother might have just had the white boy there, and he was still running the company and they were making that good money. But watch this: as soon as he died, as soon as that white man's kids inherited that patent, you think they was looking for Mr. Boyd's family so that they could make sure that they get they just do and they get their percentage? That's not even in the white man's nature.
Hey, hell to the no, no, no.
To the no, no,
Hell
no.
to the no, no. You know what I'm saying? Look, the opposite of the generational curse and the generational PTSD and the generational trauma is generational wealth, which they
Let's
have
go.
passed down. They have passed down from that trauma they gave us. They sucked out wealth and assets and they pass it down. And they still sitting on money, man. They still got old money. They ain't spent it yet in the coffers. You feel
That's
me?
right. That's right.
Right? Some black inventors achieve financial success, but no patent protection, direct or indirect.
Right.
Benjamin Montgomery, who was born into slavery in 1819, invented a steamboat propeller designed for shallow waters in the 1850s.
Mm-hmm.
This invention was of particular value because during that time, steamboats delivered food and other necessities through often shallow waterways connecting settlements. If the boats got stuck, life-sustaining supplies would be delayed for days or weeks. Montgomery tried to apply for a patent. The application was rejected due to his status as a slave. Montgomery's owners tried to take credit for the propeller invention and patent it themselves, but the patent office also rejected their application because they were not the true inventors.
Mm-hmm.
Even without patent protection, Montgomery amassed significant wealth and became one of the wealthiest planters in Mississippi after the Civil War ended. Eventually, his son, Isaiah, all praise Isaiah, right,
Let's
was
go.
able to purchase more than 800 acres of land and found the town of Mound Bayou, Mississippi, after his father's death.
Now watch this. That's that place that's on the
Mound
top of the
Bayou,
article where they
con,
said white folks couldn't live there.
right,
See what I'm saying?
and that's what's known as the Mississippi Delta,
Uh,
right, which is a certain part of Mississippi. It's like on the floodplains of the river. But the Mississippi Delta, for your folks, I'll put it in the chat. Only reason I know because my homeboy went to a junior college out there and he told me about that. But yeah, it's a particular little black enclave in Mississippi. MISS, ISS, RPPI, right? Look up
Likewise.
Mississippi Delta just for some, edification. You feel me?
Come.
All right. Let's continue on to this. And we was just reading, but yeah, Mound Bayou is where we're getting into. Another prominent black owned, black built center of wealth just after fresh out of slavery.
So
Fresh out.
look, the man whose father invented this propeller that could go through more shallow waters so that they could deliver goods in like basically in like swamp regions and smaller bodies of water, right? From
Mm-hmm.
side to side, from dock to dock, right? His father was never able to patent his invention because he was born a slave, but he did amass a lot of wealth selling his propellers.
Con,
His son took his inheritance from his father and went and built a town where white folks can't live so that we can be free to invent and come up with our own ideas and intellectual properties without having to be robbed from our enemies.
con,
That's called inspiration.
con. Hey, niggas shouldn't have no excuse, man. If our forefathers could go through what they went through, niggas ain't got no excuse, man.
Matter of
You
fact,
know
let me get Zephaniah 2:1. Come on, man, we got to do
that
this.
part.
Because we probably not gonna have time. I wanted to read the rest of this too, but we might not have time. It's already 8:50, so we might as well get Zephaniah 2, man.
All right. It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
And that's the part because what's his name? Elijah McCoy. Let me tell you, my hat's off to Elijah McCoy. I tip my hat to that brother because
Right.
he had enough understanding to know that whenever you get something in this land of our captivity and you have a chance, go and build with your people. Stop
Con,
having your head up the so-called white man's ass and stop following these wretched bastards because we need to be gathering with ourselves and with our brothers, and that's the way it is.
con. And we pretty much got through the article. People, I'm going to leave a link in the description.
All
Um,
praises.
it go into a legacy of black inventors and it's got some more videos and such, but it's only about a couple paragraphs there. But that gives you the idea of the thievery extended far beyond slavery, right?
Come.
And it continues into this day. So there's only one way out. You could try to use the white man system and work with their system, and it's only going to get you so far until they come and try to take it anyway. But look, they can't take from you what's God given, and that's this heritage. That's these law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what? Just read that first paragraph.
Yeah. I figure we
We
got a
got
little
to, man.
time.
We got to get
We got a
that
little time.
first paragraph.
Look,
Yeah.
here we go. The legacy, a legacy of black innovators. The patent system was ostensibly open to free black people. From Thomas Jennings, the first black patent holder who invented dry cleaning in 1821,
Hmm.
to Robert Rillieux, a free man who invented a revolutionary sugar refining process in the 1840s, to
Come on.
Elijah McCoy, who obtained 57 patents over his lifetime. Those with access to the patent system invented items that still touch the lives of people today. Right?
Hmm.
Look, I ain't even know this. The Super Soaker, the first video.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So,
You see
bro,
that?
I had me a Super Soaker.
Hey, there
I
we
had
go.
a
We all
couple
know.
of them. You
Yeah.
feel me? Yeah, man. All praises. But look, that's eye opening, Upper Yacht. Like, I'm gonna read
Come.
back through that. I'm gonna click on some of them links, man. We're gonna circle back on that. But
Yeah, because it's a lot. I didn't want to. I didn't even want to deal with the links because
right, right.
pause. But we'll get through so many different volumes of information. The one I seen the most was the Association for Women Inventors and Entrepreneurs. Like it was just a lot of information in there. So it's
Con,
it's a lot of information in these links. So you just
con. We
gotta.
we'll revisit that, man. We're gonna definitely put this into the archives. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Into the library. You feel me? But look, hey, I learned a lot today for sure. For sure. And then just to see how all of this stuff apply right to the curses, and the only way out the curses, we already know. Because
Okay.
if you think this rampant wild beast is gonna change its colors, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's still brothers out there that's trying to politic and work within the white man system. Look, we got to survive, and we got to do what we got to do to stay alive and push this word out and to keep this light out. But we're not going to be integrated into a society with these people. We
Right.
need to learn how to know who we are, where we come from. And like you said, right here, hey, Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. They don't care about you. They never will. And it's written that they have a perpetual hatred for you. So come to that reality, right? Let that go. Let that desire to please the white man and to please the other people, let that go. Please God. Please the Most High. That's how you're gonna win. And with that, hey, I see we got some comments in the chat. Let's roll back through. Hey, had to give a shout out to my man, Mabul Wash, Shalom King, right? Karaz said, hey, been listening. Great lesson. The Water King. Yeah, you know we're going to chop it up, Karaz, on this one because, man, I've been taking some mental notes. I'm going to go back and write some notes down. We're gonna go into some of this because it's important to know. It's important to know your wealth and to know that you are a great people, and evidence shows it. How great do you got to be enslaved, deprived of all resources and all means, and you coming up with inventions? And then how is it that as soon as a community of people is let free, we build in successful communities and building wealth, right? It's not that niggas don't have the ability. It's that we done been beat into the mindset of, oh, we ain't worthy. That's
Okay.
that generational effect to where after a while, they don't got to physically beat you. They got you mentally beat. You feel me? So that's what this is all about, man. That's what we do, is trying to shed some light on our people, man. Get them out of this world of darkness. Get some oil in that lamp and come into this marvelous light, which is having faith in the Most High and His Son, who the world ignorantly called Christ, Yahushua Hamashiach, and following these law, statutes, and commandments like the Father commanded us.
That's right.
That's the game. That's the blueprint. That's the original patent, right? Shoot, that people stole from us and made themselves successful and wealthy. Right? We ain't gonna call no names, but we know who small hat people are. Right?
Mm-hmm. Painted day images.
You feel me? But yeah, King. Hey, chat. This was a good one. This was a banger. Make sure you go back. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put the link in the description to the article. Go back and dig through that old episode 5 of Couch That Captivity Created, right? The guide to ending black on black crime in, you know what I'm saying? The Couch That Captivity Created, episode number 5. And it goes into more, heavy topics, right? And more breakdowns and scriptures, but that's the footing of it. And look, it's applicable to this day. Scripture will lead to your success, right? It'll make you profitable, not just as an individual, but as a people. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Hey, I think we right on time, up y'all. I'm gonna let you get the last word up. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
with that, I want to give Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom Akim, and
Shalom, shalom,
Akwab.
shalom, mashpaka. Yeah, and hey, don't forget, if it's on your heart, right? Cash App, $Bazak. Anything help goes directly to the ministry. We got super chat, we got super thanks, super stickers. You know what I'm saying? Your support of just being here is greatly appreciated, right? But every dollar goes a long way so that we could do more things and build more lessons together. And look, Apiyak, we was just talking about it the other day. I'm gonna pose a question, right? And y'all can leave your comments in the leave your answers or your responses in the comments, right? Because we're gonna shut the live down here on time. But do y'all think it'll be beneficial for us when we put the lesson plan together to kind of supply all the points on a PDF for you with all the links? You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
that's something me and Apiyak been talking about is getting a library of basically ebooks to supplement the lessons and whatnot. And then from there, we thinking about integrating like quizzes and tests and challenges. So learning tools, essentially, right? We've been talking about this for a number of months, if not years by now, right? So let us know what you think, Mashpaka. You know what I'm saying? And hey, powerful lesson, King. I enjoyed sitting in with you. You know what I'm saying? The water for all your diligence and your studies. And you know we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna link up. We're gonna do it again.
Underbar.
Ayan Debar King, Awata, Shalom Mashpaka, and
Shalom,
Kwam
my king.
Yashra.